Funerals, shrouded bodies, prayers amid ruins, debris just about everywhere. This is Gaza today. As Israel pounds the besieged Strip with relentless strikes, on Tuesday, casualties were rushed to the Al-Shifa hospital after an Israeli airstrike on Gaza City killed and injured many.
Around 11:30 p.m. last night, we were surprised by a very loud explosion that damaged many buildings, including our home. We rushed out. There were injuries inside the house caused by falling debris from the walls and doors, which landed on the children. Then we heard screaming from our neighbors, so we ran over and found bodies torn apart, including an infant baby girl no older than 4 months.
My children are trembling with fear because their mother became a martyr. I'm still in shock and I can't believe that they are gone.
But as Palestinians die, Trump and Netanyahu sat down in Washington, indulging in self-congratulatory talk in a way and dreaming up a Riviera in Gaza. The two met for several hours while Israeli officials continued indirect talks with Hamas, hoping for a US-brokered ceasefire and hostage deal. This being Netanyahu's third visit to the White House since Trump returned to power in January. That's more than any other foreign leader, by the way. The meeting was marked by celebrations of US airstrikes on Iran's nuclear sites. And Netanyahu took the moment to nominate Donald Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize.
I want to present to you, Mr. President, the letter I sent to the Nobel Prize Committee. It's nominating you for the Peace Prize, which is well deserved, and you should get it.
Thank you very much. This I didn't know. Wow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coming from you in particular, this is very meaningful. Thank you very much, Bibi.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you. It's a great honor.
Netanyahu will stay in Washington through Thursday, with meetings planned with Vice President J.D. Vance, the House Speaker Mike Johnson, the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. In fact, Trump is pushing hard for a ceasefire and hostage release deal with negotiations underway in Qatar. But his vision for Gaza goes far beyond a short-term ceasefire. Remember, back in January, during Netanyahu's visit to the United States, Trump floated a rather shocking proposal, permanently relocating 2 million Palestinians to neighbouring countries, allowing the US to take over Gaza and develop it into the Riviera of the Middle East. And he later walked back on the comment, but the idea was already made public. Arab countries reacted sharply and came up with a counter plan, one that insists that the population remain in Gaza, rebuild the territory, and form a future Palestinian state, one without Hamas in power. But what about Netanyahu? Well, he loves Donald Trump's idea. And when asked about Trump's vision to relocate Palestinians and turn Gaza into a luxury waterfront development, Netanyahu called it a brilliant vision. And on Monday, before his private dinner with Donald Trump, Netanyahu backed the plan, telling the media, I'm quoting here, it's called free choice. If people want to stay, they can stay. But if they want to leave, they should be able to leave, quote unquote. Not just that, he added that Israel is working very closely with the US to identify countries willing to take displaced Palestinians and that the discussions were already getting close to fruition. Donald Trump, seated across from Netanyahu, simply said, and I'm quoting, something good will happen. Netanyahu's comments, meanwhile, marking his most explicit endorsement yet, backing a plan that could empty Gaza of its people and turn it into a playground in a way for the rich. The proposal has already sparked furious backlash from human rights groups, Arab leaders, as well as US allies, who called it ethnic cleansing under the guise of development. And the White House attempted damage control, walking back on elements of Trump's language. But Netanyahu's support, combined with his rejection of a Palestinian state, showing exactly what kind of peace he and Trump might be envisioning, one where Palestinians are displaced or resettled abroad, perhaps. And it's a stark break from decades of US policy, which has long insisted on a two-state solution and an independent Palestinian state alongside Israel. But Netanyahu says any ceasefire deal with Hamas should not include the recognition of Palestinian statehood. Negotiators are scheduled to meet in Doha later this week. Trump believes a deal could be struck during the coming week, but Netanyahu's endorsement of mass relocation could deepen mistrust among Palestinian negotiators and also derail the progress. The war in Gaza is now in its 21st month. Since it started in 2023, Israel's military campaign has killed more than 57,000 Palestinians, displaced over 80% of the population, pushed 500,000 to the brink of famine.